Hello there, my name's Jan and I'm back with another tutorial today for my YouTube channel at JB Crafts, so thank you for joining me. And I thought we would do a little bit of construction today. I've been making cards for the last few videos, so I thought today we'd do a little bit of construction. So I've made a nice little gift box. It's quite a good size. It's 4.5 inches square. The box inside is a wee bit smaller. I'm going to show you the inside, and I've just used elements again from the stash to decorate. It's got a little ribbon closure on the front, but I'm going to show you how to do a different closure on the tutorial, just in case you don't want to use the ribbon. And when we open this up, we've got a nice little gift box inside. I've popped a sentiment in the top here so that you could actually write a message if you're gifting this to someone. And then inside I've just got some little chocolate bunnies in mine. You could fill this with whatever you want. It doesn't have to be edible products. You could put a gift in here. So the box itself measures 3.5 inches square when it's finished. So it's just an inch smaller than the casing. So I'm going to go into the tutorial and show you how to pop this together. Just pop this to one side and we'll get cracking. So let me just tie that one back up for a second, and then we will get going with the pieces that you're going to need. So we'll pop that to one side. So I'm going to start out with the base piece. So this is the wraparound that's going to go the top, the back, and then underneath here. And that piece wants to measure 11 inches by 4.5 inches. So 4.5 inches across, 11 inches in height. And then I'm going to bring my scoreboard in, and I want to pop it on the long side in my scoreboard, and I am going to score it at 4.5 inches, which gives me a square on here. And then I'm going to flip it all the way around to the other end and score at 4.5 again. So you'll create two squares that are 4.5 inches square, and then the spine in the middle is 2 inches deep. So that's the depth of the actual box. And then once we've done that, we just need to fold and burnish those score lines. So again, folding in with the larger piece, I'm using that as my anchor to fold, and then the same again at this side. And then I'm going to bring in my burnishing tool and just make sure that when it's folded over, all these edges are running nice and parallel, and then give it a burnish with your burnishing tool. The same on this side. I'm going to bring this one back in, and again just make sure that all your edges are running nice and straight and parallel with each other, and then burnish that score line in, just to teach that cardstock what you actually want it to do. So you can see now we've got that sort of almost like little book style casing. So you could actually make it this way. I've actually sat mine down so that the lid opens this way. So I'm just going to pop a couple of mats and layers on the inside, and that's all really that I need to do to the inside part of the casing. So I've chosen another shade of lilac. So I've gone for a pale lilac and then a little bit more of an amethysty shade to go with mine today. And I've created two mats, and these measure, the purple layer measures 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. So I've only come down 1/8 of an inch this time, just because we were working on a smaller area. And then the mats that fit on top, again, I've just come down that 1/8 of an inch. So I've got, sorry, that 1/4 of an inch, from 3 7/8 to 3 7/8. So I've got two purple layers. I'm going to put one in the base, and I've just popped a silver layer on top here because the box is going to sit on this part, so I don't really want to waste pattern paper or anything like that. I've just used a piece of silver matte mirror card on there. And then on the top one, I've done the same again with the purple matte layer, and then I've cut my sentiment layer to 3 7/8 by the 3 7/8. Stamped my sentiment in there, which has come from an old, I love the actual message on here. It's called Little Things by Crafter's Companion, and it's the little things in life. I use it a lot. I think it's a really, really nice little stamp set. So that's where I've got the greeting stamp from there. So we'll pop these in now, and then I can put that base piece to one side. So I'm going to use my tape runner here, and just add some adhesive to the back of here. And again, you know, if you prefer to use your tape or your wet glues here, whichever you prefer. So this one is going to go inside what will be the base. And you can see that I've just left different size borders just to create a bit of interest. So we've got a slightly wider border around the outside than I have on the matte layer. And then our little gift box is going to sit on top of here. And then I'm going to do the same again and add some adhesive to that second matte layer and pop this inside so it's behind the sort of the front cover of the box. So just make sure it's the right way up. So when you open your box, you want to be able to read the sentiment. So this one's going to go inside here. And again, I've left that same border to echo what I've done on the base here of that particular piece. So that's going to be our inside section. I'm not going. You could decorate the back if you wish. I haven't done. I've chose to leave that just as the cardstock, and that's going to form the actual casing for our box. So again, I'm going to pop that to one side for a second, and I'm going to bring in my piece of cardstock that I'm going to use to create the little box. So this piece measures 7.5 by 7.5 inches. So we've got a square piece for this. We're going to create a little box that measures 3.5 inches square and it's 2 inches deep. So what I've done is I've taken my scoreboard again, and just because I'm working with just half of a box, I've actually worked on the left hand side of my board, and again I've just scored all 4 sides at 2 inches to give me that 2-inch depth for the box. So all the way around, just turning it 90 degrees each time and creating that 2-inch score line all the way around. Now you can just about see those, I think, on the camera, just get a little sort of idea. But then the next thing is always to fold and burnish those lines. Now I'm not going to bring in the scoring tool this time. I don't want to crack my cardstock, and it will be sufficient for what I'm doing to just pop a nice crease in there. I'm technically burnishing it with my finger this time rather than the tool. So again, all 4 sides, just give it a nice crease, and then we're going to do a little bit of cutting. So you should end up with a large square in the middle, 4 squares in the corners, and then your rectangular pieces in the edge here. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to work all the way around. I'm going to flip it over because I can actually see the score lines better on this side. So I'm going to start, because I'm right-handed, I tend to work from this side, and I've got the square piece here at the bottom, and I'm going to cut just to the left of that score line and free up my little glue tab. And then just to make life easier, I'm going to take just about 1/4 inch and just wedge that piece here to give me, and then this will actually turn and stick to the side of the box to create that lovely corner. And then what I tend to do when it's something square is rotate and do the same on the next corner. And the reason I rotate then means that you're going to get a glue tab on each side of your box, so it's helping strengthen it at the same time as actually constructing the box. Again, just take that little wedge, a 1/4 turn, and do the same again. So each time we're just going to the left hand side. I'm technically cutting the score line away with that little wedge that I'm cutting out of the box, and then one last 1/4 turn, and again same, nice and straight here, because this is the edge that's going to show. Take that little wedge out, and you've got your pieces there ready to start folding. So we'll just get rid of the rubbish. So you can see now this is what it looks like when it's all cut. And then what we're going to do is each of these, so this one's going to attach to the first side, the second side, the third side, and then eventually the 4th side. So with a tab attached to each side, it's effectively strengthening that box as we go along. Now I'm going to do a little bit of decoration before we start to stick the box together. I just find it easier to actually pop some of the decoration on before we start going. So I've got a piece to go inside the box here, and this is just some pattern paper that I chose to match my actual cardstock, my solid cardstock colour. So again, I've cut this piece down, And we've actually got a piece here that measures 3 3/8. So I've just come down that 1/8 of an inch again by 3 3/8. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it onto the inside, and I'm going to use my wet glue this time, just so that I've got that little bit of wriggle room in order to give me a bit of movement when I stick these in place. And just unstick, there we go, just got that little bit of glue on top there. So yeah, we're going to bring this in, pop the glue underneath, and then I'm going to stick this one on the inside of the box here. And there's just a slight little border again all the way around, but it just adds that bit of detail on the inside. And then I have cut a set of pieces that measure 3 3/8, which is the same size as this piece here, but this time by 1 7/8. If you remember, our sides were 2 inches deep, so we're actually going to have pieces that fit just within those sides. Now I'm going to do the inside when I've fastened it together, and that will help disguise the tabs inside. This bit is optional, you don't have to decorate the inside, it's entirely up to you. But then I've also cut the same pieces to go on the outside of the box. So again, we'll actually pop some of these around the outside before we stick it together. It just gives a little bit of ease when you, I think when you're sticking these down, if the piece is flat, I find it easier to actually pop these in place. So again, we're going to pop these on all 4 sides of those rectangles. And again, I'm sticking with that wet glue just so that I've got that little bit of room to maneuver if I don't quite get it straight first time. Try not to load up too much glue, otherwise it all starts squidging out. And I'm talking from experience. I had to learn this as I started, because I used to think, oh, the more glue the better it'll stick, and it's not the case. Excuse me. So we'll just work our way around here with those 4 sides, all the way around here. So side number 3, and then what will be the front of my box, I'm going to add a little bit of decoration to. So we'll call this one the front piece. And again, I've got just a bit of stamping on here. And I think you saw this appear last week. I use this all the time. This is that Creative Expression stamp set, Dates from the Past. It's got a selection of dates and numbers and things, just random things. And I've just chosen one of them. So I use this one here to stamp. And I'm also going to bring in, got my little pot of goodies again. When we're finished, we're going to add a little butterfly to the front as well there. So he's going to sit on the front, just as a little bit of extra detail at the front of the box. So we will pop this one on the outside. And then we'll work at popping this box together. So we'll put the glue tabs together and stick everything down. So just give that a second or two, and then I've still got my inside pieces. In fact, I'm going to take that one off. I've just realised that I've stuck 4 on the outside and I only needed 3 on the outside. So because I've used the Galore, this will just rub away, which is a good job really, because I got carried away there sticking them all down. So yeah, just get all that excess glue. This is going to be at the back, so you won't actually see this anyway. But the beauty of the Galore is that you can just literally rub it all away. And if you do get any little stubborn bits, if you've got one of the glue erasers, you can just lift the last bit with that. Okay, so yeah, we're good to go. Project saved. So let's just get rid of the bits there. And then I'll save that piece to go. I'm thinking, yeah, I need 4 pieces on the inside, but at the back of the box, I didn't bother sort of putting a piece of pattern paper. So what we're going to do now then is we're actually going to start and stick these pieces together on the inside. Now, just because I want a quick stick for these, I'm going to revert back to my tape pen here. Yes, you can use the wet glue, but obviously you've got to wait for that glue to dry, and I want these to stick in place. So I'm just going to add a little bit of my tape runner, and I'm going to do all 4 of the sides at the same time, and then we can get these pieces stuck together. So again, just rotate, add the adhesive. There we go. And the last one. And then we can start and pop this together. So all I'm going to do is just take one at a time and bring that corner up to a nice 90-degree angle, and you should get a nice straight finish here where you bring that glue tab in. Give it a little bit of a press down, move to the next one, and we're going to do the same again. So a nice 90-degree angle on that corner here. You should get that nice straight line at the top, and then just work your way around all four sides of that little box, and you'll end up with that 3.5 inch square. Took the last one inside, and then we're going to pop that one, and then I'm just going to use my burnishing tool just to press those down inside. So I'm just working on the inside there just to make sure that all that glue has made contact with the side of the box there. And then I've got my little pieces to stick inside. Now if you do get any sort of bits that are just, I can just see a little bit poking out there, and all I'm going to do is trim that to the edge with my scissors. If it bothers you, you can just see I've got another one. I've got two sides that were just slightly longer, so yeah, just use the edges of the box as a guide and just snip it out to the corner there. Okay, and then we've got our box to fit inside. So what I'm going to do then is flick back to that wet glue again, because I can move these inside. We'll do the one that I'd already started with here, which has got a little bit of glue residue on, but it will be fine. And then you do again, as like I said earlier, this part is optional. It's entirely up to you whether you go onto the inside, but I just like the finish of it, and I also like the fact that it all matches. Now I'm just looking for my tweezers. There we go. So what I'm going to do is lay the box on its side and just slot this. It just finishes it off because it's covering up those glue tabs. It's all adding strength to your little box, especially with using the collal glue, which dries really hard. And again, turn, and we're going to do the same. So all the sides again. And I've done this to cover, as I say, those little glue tabs. You could put a different paper in here. You know, you could have a contrasting paper on the inside if you wish. So again, just wriggling it into place and then giving time for that to set. Turn it, and we'll do the third one. And then I'm going to add that last one in as well. So again, just covering up where we've stuck everything together, all the makings of the box. It just gives a really nice finish, especially if this is going to be a gift for someone. It's just adding those little bits of finishing detail in there. And we can get going. Now I've just realised I've made another mistake. Now I can see something. Can you spot the obvious? I've just realised that when I actually put this together, my number is upside down. So I'm going to hopefully see, yeah, this is the beauty of using that collal glue. Yeah, we just need to turn that one round, Jan. That's because I was working with it flat. So yeah, just don't make the same mistakes that I did there. Now this is put together, we actually need that facing to the top, to the open side of the box. So yeah, collal glue saved me again there. So there we go. So we've got all our pieces together there. We've got our little box at the ready. Now again, you know what I'm like with the inks. I did actually ink around all my pieces of paper, and I've used my opaque pigment ink from Crafter's Companion in Damson Wine. It was a perfect match for what I wanted to do. And I'm also going to just pop round the edge of the box where this white, because my cardstock's got a white core, just round the edge here. And again, this is optional. You know how my OCD works. Any of you that's watched me before, you know what I'm like. And it's just tidying everything up, that little tiny bit. Okay, so we've got the front. I've got the back that's plain because we're not actually going to see that bit in the box itself. And then we're good to go. So what I will do next is bring in that cover that we made. And this piece is going to sit, and it's just a wee bit smaller again, so that we've got that nice silver border all the way around the outside. And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to bring some of my red line tape in. Again, you can use your wet glue, but obviously on video I want this to dry as quick as possible. Now, because it's hollow inside, I'm not going to use my tape runner because I've nothing to press against. And I know that the red line tape is strong enough to do the job that I need it to do. So again, I'm just going to add some strips underneath my box, put 3 pieces on there, and then I'm going to turn it over to give that tape a good burnish on the bottom. I want to make sure that all the air bubbles have come out of the tape. And then again, we can take the liner off here. Just get rid of those. And then we can stick this inside our casing. So my liner's been very friendly now, it doesn't want to let go. There we go, that last piece. And this is why it pays to just burnish that red line, so that you can get that release off the tape. There's always one piece, isn't there, that misbehaves. There we go. Right. And I'm going to pop this on, making sure that my plain piece goes towards what will be the back of the casing. Now, it doesn't go right up to the back, it's going to sit square inside here. So this one, if you remember, this one we said measured 3 7/8, and the box is 3.5. So I've got a little bit of leeway to play with there, and I'm just literally going to hover over the top and just keep having a look all the way around to make sure that I've got roughly the same distance down the sides, across the top and across the bottom. And once I'm happy with that, again, I can pop inside and just give that a really good press down. So you can see how that's coming together now. This is the same depth, so it's just going to sit nicely on top of your box, and you've got the beginnings of that design. So for the top section, I had a look at what I'd got in my stash, and this is one of, I've had this die absolutely forever. It was one of the first sets of dies that I bought. It's an old Spellbinders die, and I love the frame that it creates, and it just happened to be exactly the right size to go on the top of my box. So what I've done is I've stayed with that lovely amethyst colour, and I've popped that through my die cutting machine to create the die itself, the die cut. And this roughly comes out from edge of design to edge of design at about 4 1/4 square. And if you don't have anything like this, you might have other frames, or you can just stick with a square frame. I just thought this gave a little bit of extra detail. And what I'm going to do is actually pop some dots around the edge of this with my dotty tape pen, and then a little bit of glue on the inside. So yeah, just gently all the way around the edge here, so that those little curly pieces stick down as well. And then I'm going to put some normal tape inside. In fact, I'll go with the wet glue again because it gives me that little bit of room to maneuver. So again, just on the inside of the square where I've got the solid piece, we'll add that all-purpose glue. And this now is going to sit within the parameters of that square on the lid. So I'm just going to try and get that as central as I can, and I'm checking out the corner pieces to see whether there's about an equal distance. And then once we're happy with that, we can give that a burnish with our fingers to stick it down. So that's my first layer. And then I've got a piece, this piece in the center of here is roughly 3 1/4 inches square. So what I did was come down to 3 inches. So I've gone 3 inches square with the silver to link with the inside of the box. And then I've gone 2 7/8 inches square, and I chose a pattern paper that sort of matched in with the theme of the purples and the lilac, the amethyst colour. So I've got this from one of my paper pads with the butterflies on. So again, I've just popped some foam pads just to add a little bit of detail here. So we're going to take the backs off the foam pads, And again, just for longevity, I'm going to add a little bit of my tacky glue to the foam pads. Sort of two reasons really. A, it helps with being able to just maneuver things into place, and B, it also gives you a really good stick. It's not that the sticky pads are not sticky, it's just over time they will dry out, whereas the wet adhesive will seep into the fibres of my cardstock here, and it means that we're going to get a better stick. So this is just a fraction smaller again. We're literally just going to pop that right in the centre and press that one down. Okay. Now then, on my original sample, I actually trapped some ribbon under this piece before I started. And then I also trapped my ribbon under the base piece here. So when we put this first layer on at the bottom here, I trapped the ribbon under there, but I said I was going to show you a different way to close it this time. So what I've done is I've just created a couple of little strips with that amethyst colour, and these measure about 3/4 of an inch by 2 inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop them one underneath here, and I'm going to stick one right underneath the bottom. Okay, so what we'll do is I've just put a little bit of tape on the back here, and I'm just going to take that adhesive off, the liner off the adhesive here. And you can pop this right underneath the piece here if you wish. I'm actually going to go for underneath the centre here. So yeah, I've got the piece on the inside. Now let me see if I can just slide it underneath the front here, because that was only the dots. There we go. Look, we can slide that piece underneath around about the centre, and then this piece is going to come down the front. And then I'm going to do the same again with the back. So I'm going to take the liner off my adhesive, and I've gone for the red line adhesive again because I know it is pretty strong. Turn the whole thing over, and again look for around about the centre. So I'm just eyeballing. You can measure this if you wish. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop a little hook and loop fastener on here this time. All right, so we'll come to that towards the end. So just to finish off the decoration, I showed you the little butterfly that I had, and I'm going to pop that on with a bit of my tacky glue, just to add some detail at the front of the design. So this one's going to go on here. Optional again, as to how far you want to go with the decoration. And then we're almost there. We just need to think about the top of it. So in my little pot of tricks here again, I have got a nice little sentiment that says "just for you," and I've kept the butterfly theme. I actually went with the vintage butterfly stamp set, which has got some lovely sentiments in. This is a Crafter's Companion stamp set from one of the Sarah Signature collections. And again, I've just done the "just for you" here and stamped it out. It's got that little tiny butterfly embellishment on. I've also used an old die set from a previous collection. This was from Vintage Lace many years ago. It's got some beautiful butterflies in here, and I've just cut the smallest one of these and got him ready as an embellishment as well. So I've cut one of those in the silver to keep that theme going, and then I've just created a second one in vellum just to give that sort of floaty look for the wings there. And we're just going to stick that down in the center so that it's got some movement in it. So again, we will pop a little bit of glue, and when it comes to the embellishments, I normally go for my tacky glue there. And this one's going to sit in that top corner because I didn't want to cover up too many of the butterflies here. So that one's going to stick there. And then I'm going to bring, to offset that, the sentiment down to the bottom corner. And I don't need to put glue on all of it because a little bit of it's overhanging where we put the foam pads in. So again, I'm just going to bring this one and let it just pop off the edge there. So we've got that offset corners. And then to finish that piece off, you know how much I love my my little pearls and beads and things like that. So I've just got some silver again just to keep that theme going. And I'm going to bring in a couple on the vertical at the top here, and then I'm going to bring a couple, but I'm going to come horizontally at the bottom. Get my little sticky pickup tool, and we're going to go with one of the slightly larger ones and then a smaller one, and then again at the bottom we've got a slightly larger one and then a smaller one. And then once that glue's dried, it's going to leave those nicely in place, so you can see where we're heading with that. We've got open, we've got our sentiment. If you want to write a message in here to the recipient, you've got a place to put your gift or your sweeties or whatever it is you're going to pop in there. And then we just need to finish that closure off. So if I just move all my debris from this side of the desk so that I can get to my little hook and loop dots. So what I want to do is just take one of the loops and one of the hooks, and I'm going to pop those together, and these are sticky on the reverse. And then what I'm going to do is pop the pair of them, and I haven't stuck them to myself, very, very sticky. There we go. So I'm going to have the top piece close over the bottom piece here. If I just stand this on its side. So I'm literally going to bring this right up to the top of that piece that came up from underneath our box. And then close it so that this piece, the top, rests on the box. And then literally pop that together. Give it a squeeze with my tweezers there. Just give that a second to grab. And then you've got your nice little hook and loop closure there for your box. So just an alternative way if you don't want to add ribbon to the box. It just gives you a different way of closing that little box there. So you can see we've got one with the ribbon closure, which I did a really bad job of when I retied, but you get the idea there. Just bring that a bit smaller. So yeah, we've got one with the ribbon closure, we've got one with the hook and loop. You could also pop some decoration here to sort of add a bit more detail here if you wish. So yeah, you can see where we've gone with those. Lots of pearls on the front. I've got a little bit of pearl detail in the middle of the butterfly. I've got a little tiny one on the stamp butterfly here. And again, just to show you that inside section with my little chocolate bunnies in there. I was very disappointed actually how many were in the packet that I bought. I might have to buy another packet so that this is full. It looks a bit sort of empty at the minute, but hey, there we go. A little bit of tissue inside just to match it all together. And then you've got that closure, whichever you decide. So I hope you're going to have a go at this. Let me know if you have a go. I know one or two people have already posted pictures of things that they've tried. And I do try and look at all the designs. I do try and comment on them if you're going to post them. So thank you for joining me today. I love to have your company. I have been reading all your messages, and I am absolutely overwhelmed with the outpouring of love that you guys have shown me for starting the YouTube channel. I do plan to continue it. I'm going to bring you lots of different tutorials, whether it's card making, whether it's construction. We will get into that mixed media aspect as we go along. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell so that it gives you a message when I've uploaded a new video, and give us a thumbs up on the like if you like what you've seen on the video. So I'm going to close this one for now, and I'll see you guys very soon.